yet again another rant from me in regards to the New 52 Teen Titans comic book. So, as I was reading the preview issue for issue number 9, which is going to be, out this June, I think June 24th, I think, and this particular issue, it's free. You can, I think I got it for free off the DC Comic app on my iOS, and it really doesn't tell much. But as I was reading it, though, a realization came upon me. It immediately came to me, and I thought to myself, why in the holy mother of hell, how did we get to this point? Why is Power Girl, first off, the new character, the smart one, the one who probably should, be questioning pretty much everything, questioning Manchester Black. Why is she so, quick to, freaking do his bidding? Why? Seriously, why? Apparently, there's something, there's something wrong here. There's something wrong here, but, you know what? We're not going to acknowledge that there's something wrong here. No, we're not. We're just gonna freaking do it for the story. Really? I've heard of good stories, and then I've heard of good gameplay, okay? And I'm gonna use games as a freaking example here, and, I need to say this. There are good games, and then there are good freaking gameplay. And usually when you have a good story, what ends up happening is you end up sacrificing the gameplay. And that's kind of what DC's doing with the story of this comic book. They're sacrificing the the logic in the team. They're kind of sacrificing, I don't know, the common sense and pretty much any other freaking ability that these characters have, like Wonder Girl's ability to tell if someone's lying through her armor. Oh, well, that's gone. Raven and her ability to know to suddenly at one point not be able to detect magic, but then all of a sudden out of nowhere decides to detect magic. What? And then Power Girl, who to this point hasn't had a single bit of time in the comic book. Oh my god. And then Red Robin and his lack of detective skills. It took him all the way up to this point to really kind of figure out if Manchester Black was an asshole. It took him this long. Okay, oh well, he's doing all his detective work. You know what's funny? Is that there was nothing in any of the previous comic books until Annual 1 that kind of got him, saying Manchester Black was a bad guy. Literally, until they started protecting Superboy, there was nothing that was preventing them from, just siding with Manchester Black, because they seem to be wholeheartedly siding with him. And what's funny is that Wonder Girl and Power Girl, the two that I would expect not to, are, and they wholeheartedly do what he says. Oh my god, it's like I said, you guys are sacrificing the rest of the logic in the team, the fact that it is a team book, the fact that it's not focusing on the team. You're sacrificing the team focus for the story, sacrificing the characters' powers for the story, and you're essentially butchering everything else around, in this book. The characters are dumbasses. Some of them don't even have their powers from the post-relaunch. What's funny is Wonder Girl had her abilities to tell if someone was lying in the Liddell run, but now apparently she doesn't. And Raven, she's a freaking, she's like a freaking, she isn't anything. Like, at least in Liddell's run, she was sorta something. At least there was some interest in her, but now it's just kind of like, we don't give a shit, just, no one gives a damn. And that's kind of how it's been with this character, Raven. It's just like, we don't give a shit. And I feel as though they don't give a shit about the whole comic book, if you ask me. But this particular character, they really don't give a fuck about. So, really what I'm trying to say here is that not only has Power Girl had no time on screen whatsoever, not only has Wonder Girl been, dumbed down so much, and Raven kind of just, nobody gives a shit about her. Freaking Beast Boy, somehow, essentially a big fat retcon. Bunker, I don't know much about Bunker, but I'm sure there's a lot that's changed there. And Red Robin, who essentially has lost his ability to be a detective, or at least doesn't seem to want to be a detective, because as it stands right now, every issue I've read, and every issue before Annual 1, it's like his detective skills disappeared or was like decayed somewhat since like the freaking relaunch started. I don't understand. Now I know Wolfram, when he made the original comic book, or at least the one in the 80s, he called it a family book. Okay, it wasn't X-Men level of teamwork. It was a family book. And when I say family book, I'm not talking about like friendly towards everybody. It is a legit rated T for teen comic book, but when I said family book, as in I meant to say, or what Wolfram meant to say, is that the characters, the team itself, operates more like a family than it does a team. That is what I meant to say, and that is what Wolfram meant to say as well. They operate more as a family than a team. And in this book, we only see that where exactly? Zilcho, Negatory. It must have been thrown out into a black hole or sucked into a void somewhere, because it ain't here. And we get only like a tiny itty bit of it with Raven and Wonder Girl. It's because now it's like kind of like pet names, Wonder Girl calls Raven Ray or some shit. But still, I'm not counting that. I'm not counting that at all. And you want to know why? Because it's only there for a second, and then poof, gone. And really the only other thing that we get as well is Beast Boy and Bunker, which honestly has had more camaraderie and more teamwork in this freaking book than the whole entire team combined. Literally. Other than the first issue, that's it. Just after the first issue, it just started defaulting directly towards Beast Boy, Bunker, and that was it. That was it. That was it. That is all you got in that comic book. And what really does suck is the fact that, like I said, this comic book could have been great. I think I've mentioned this a couple of times in the past. It could have been great. It could have actually been good. It could have been something that people really loved. Now, I'm glad to hear that it's not one of the canned comic books they plan on freaking throwing out the window and burning into the incinerator. What's funny is that all the, big name comic books that DC is actually known for are not the ones that are in the incinerator. So, that's a good sign, because then that means that there are still people out there that like it, or there are people out there who are actually holding out, hoping that it gets better, so they're just going to keep reading it and hope, pray to God. And I will say Teen Titans has gotten better with Annual 1, but what led to it was just like, ugh, like I didn't give a shit, and the first issue of the New 52 Teen Titans relaunch, it was great, it was good, like it wasn't like stellar, like 10 out of 10, best thing ever, best comic book ever, but it was good. And then after that, it took a dump. A massive pile of stank-ass shit. And then we're now here, and the... what do you call it? The Annual 1. After Annual 1, we got the preview comic, which is supposed to be a preview for issue number 9. And it has... a lot of stuff that you would probably just be looking at you would literally just be wondering how the heck did this even happen, because apparently the Pfeiffer's run is supposed to be supposed to have or continue the continuity from the pre-relaunch, which was the pre-relaunch New 52 Teen Titans that Liddell was running. Apparently Pfeiffer was supposed to pick it up from when the Liddell run left off. But unfortunately, there's tons of retcons, there's tons of stuff that makes no sense here. Some, heroes here and there seem to have lost their abilities, or some of it is kind of atrophied for some odd freaking reason. I wonder how they're going to explain that later on in the comic book. And there's one thing I gotta mention, and it's very valid because I find it to be very important, is the fact that once you mess up a comic book storyline early on and you start trying to improve it later, that actually that freaking mess up, that fuck up is immortal. You cannot get rid of it unless you want to reboot it. But odds are I doubt you're going to reboot it, especially since the Teen Titans are supposed to be taking some sort of role in Future's End and Convergence and whatnot. But the only way you can fix it is if you reboot it. And apparently what we're getting here is kind of the it's just I don't care. The storyline is so messed up. Some things are messed up. Characters don't seem to know what to do anymore. And honestly, it is getting to the point where I feel as though that, they've jacked it up already at the beginning of the relaunch. Okay? Early on, they jacked it up. And it's jacked up, and now that fuck up is now immortal. You can't get rid of it. Unless you can somehow explain it away with something in the book later on. But until then, it's a massive fuck up. It's a massive fuck up. And I know a lot of people will probably say, oh, well, maybe it's just Manchester Black, using mind control against them. I beg to differ. I really do. Because nowhere in the events between the time they met him all the way up to, I will even say, the preview comic, which is after Annual 1, do they even show signs of being manipulated or mind controlled by him? What's funny is that I don't even think they even show him mind controlling anybody in this comic book. There's absolutely no signs of it whatsoever. None. Nada. Zilcho. Which makes me wonder if he's really, maybe he doesn't even have his powers yet, or perhaps he has powers. It's just that they're not in the same. He doesn't activate them or whatnot in the same way. Maybe it's I don't know, some weird device he uses instead of actually having the ability to actually manipulate people's minds like he did in New Earth, with Superman and whatnot. And by the way, he was a Superman villain. Manchester Black was a Superman villain, but they decided to bring him over to the Teen Titans. Now, I can probably see that because, Superman is, freaking overpowered. Just one slap from Superman, and he's practically dying. So, I guess they put him on here because he was a villain that could actually be used here and wasn't so overpowered for the Teen Titans, but wasn't a complete and total dumbass either. So I figured they put him here because he was a perfect fit for the Teen Titans in terms of who they can do battle with. But the thing is though that we got Superboy now. Okay, we got Superboy, who and then Raven, who if she gets pissed off enough, she could literally do some serious damage. But still, let's leave Raven out of this. Leave Raven out of this. We got Superboy. Literally Superboy now. Okay, first off, we all know Manchester Black was a villain. Okay, he got, in I think a animated movie, I believe, or I don't know, maybe it was the animated series. He got bitch slapped by Superman. You're about to get bitch slapped again by Superboy. God. Why are they hunting him? I don't know. they're hunting a overpowered Kryptonian. Unless they have a ton of freaking I don't know, kryptonite, and I don't even know if Superboy really is, you know, in any way, shape, or form, is even, you know, I don't want to say allergic, but you know, I don't know if he has a weakness to kryptonite. I really don't. You know, I never thought he would, because apparently he's like a weapon of sorts, and maybe oh, the perfect weapon, we want to make a good weapon, so what we're doing is get rid of all of Superman's weaknesses and, you know, give him all the strengths, yada yada yada. And, you know, I don't know if he is, I don't know if he isn't. It's kind of foggy to me, so I have no idea. But still, you're gonna get bitch slapped by him. You're gonna be his bitch. He's going to kill you, and he's going to throw you off the cliff. And hopefully you will die, and you will no longer be in this comic book, and we'll actually get a villain that's actually cool, and not some guy with a freaking tattoo of the British, of the United Kingdom flag, the freaking Britain flag on his chest. Like, I still think his design is really weird, and it's kind of similar to what he used to look like, or sort of look like, but still, the fact that he is, you know, these are all teenagers. Don't you think any of them would have actually at least questioned why is he being so friendly to them, or so helpful to them? And also, why don't you wear a shirt? Why don't you wear a shirt? Oh, well, Beast Boy doesn't wear socks or shoes. No, that doesn't count here, because it's only feet. I'm talking about the shirtless asshole who wears a trench coat and apparently is the star of the Teen Titans New 52 relaunch comic, and for some reason the team itself isn't. And I also gotta mention, the team seems to have just kind of been downgraded to a bunch of petty side characters, which is kind of depressing and sad to hear, and to even mention, but kind of true. They've kind of become just side characters, and, you know, Manchester Black is the star of the freaking comic. You know, you have a team, you know, a comic book, you know, for this team. Why not make it about the team, not Manchester Black? Apparently, Pfeiffer loves Manchester Black, and, you know, apparently he's like, he would like to rub his body against his, you know, shirtless. Oh. Oh god. But anyway, you know, what I'm saying is, they're focusing way too much on him. See you later.